Hi everyone, I'm Sheila McKenna and you are watching Push Factor TV. Stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned. So I was thinking about my biggest failure. This whole time in my life, what has been my absolute biggest failure? What's the one thing that I thought was like the biggest blunder? And that was when I spent 5 years doing a 3-year degree. For me, that was like the worst because it affected so many people. It wasn't just about me. Honestly, I was a young girl who didn't know what she wanted, who had issues with her confidence, who really didn't like where she was at mentally and emotionally, and sought everybody else's validation but her own. I remember during that time, all I was doing with the subjects and the courses that I was taking, I just kept pushing them back to the next year, pushing them to the next year, And it finally caught up with me. On the year that I was supposed to graduate, I ended up failing 13 of my 17 subjects. The failure was that bad. I took a look at my transcript at the end of the year and I was like, I didn't know what I was gonna do. I freaked out completely. I was like, my parents are gonna kill me. Man, this is the end. I felt like my worst fears had come to reality. And the worst thing about it at that time was that I still did not want to acknowledge the fact that I was the one who made the mistake. I was the one who needed to take responsibility. I still wasn't thinking that way. So I remember that afternoon, thank God that these counseling services were free because I needed to talk to somebody professional ASAP. And I was just telling him, I failed all my exams. My parents are gonna kill me. I don't know what I'm gonna do. This is the end. This is the end. This is the end for me. I don't know what I was doing. I've just been fooling around. I've been messing up. I just don't know. I don't know. This is it for me. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm gonna face my parents. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I basically rattled off for another 5 minutes and I finished talking. And he paused for about 5 seconds after I talked and he looked at me and he said, so what makes you think that this is the end of the world for you? You're gonna wake up tomorrow morning and the sun is still going to come up. Life is still going to continue. There's not very much about this situation that you can do other than take responsibility for where you are right now and make amends. And for some reason, it didn't hit me until then that life was going to continue. And so I made the decision to just take responsibility because I knew what was going to happen. And the worst thing about it, the part that really, really hit me, what made me feel the most guilty was the disappointment on my parents' face. And it occurred to me that all this time that I had been messing around, there were people who really looked out for me, who had a lot of faith in me, who believed in me. And I wasn't believing at all in myself. They were the ones who had to take money out of their pocket to pay for an extra year that they had not anticipated for. So it was messed up. And so the next year, when I had to go back to school, I had to deal with a number of things. Number one, all the questions people were asking me. What are you doing back? You're supposed to have graduated. Like, I remember there was this one guy, that's all he would ever say every time he saw me. He's like, why are you still here? I thought you graduated. And it used to annoy me, but after a while I just smile and shrug it off. But I remember the most significant thing about that was that I decided that with all the subjects that I had failed, plus the other subjects that I had to do to complete my degree, I just decided that I was gonna buckle down and do the work. And so I used to wake up literally every day at 7:30 a.m. I went to every class. I studied almost every day. I wasn't going to let anything keep me from finally graduating that year. I was tired of feeling humiliated. I was tired of walking around feeling like I was some sort of outcast. I just decided to do the work. And you know what? It paid off. It was the best feeling in the world when I went to my friend, because I had a friend who worked at the university, and at the end of the year when I knew that all the exam results were going to come through, I just went to her and I asked her, so how did I do? Here's my student number. Tell me if I failed anything. And I just stood there and I just waited. I was like, no, just tell me, just give it to me. Tell me whether I failed anything. And she just looked at me and said, you've passed everything. All 21 subjects, I passed them all. Whew, that was a relief. I celebrated for about 5 minutes in my head. After I went for my graduation ceremony the next year, there was one big thing that I realized about failure. Number one, thank God that failure is not written across your forehead. I failed and I spent 5 years doing a 3-year degree. And secondly, failure is temporary. There's always such a big lesson to learn when you blunder, no matter how bad it is. Sometimes even the most public, the most humiliating failures are what lead you to another more fulfilling, much more purposeful and meaningful life when you decide to own up to your failure, take responsibility and make amends. It's about the choice you make of how you choose to look at it. The decision that I was going to really get my studies done that year is honestly what made me realize you're not lazy, you're consistent, and you're hardworking. All you need is a vision, all you need is a goal, and you are capable of accomplishing it. And I really hope that whatever it is that you have made such a big blunder of, or that you have failed miserably at, that you start to look at it as a lesson. I read this wonderful quote, although I've forgotten it, but it's basically saying that just because you failed at something, it does not make you a failure. It just means that you made a mistake. It just means that things didn't work out the way you wanted them to. So just take responsibility and do something about it. And you'll be surprised at the outcome when you decide to change your attitude after you have failed at something. And you know what? This time I really want to read your comments. Comment below this video and please tell me what you have failed at most, or what you have really blundered at. And tell me what you learned from that. And this has been yet another episode of Push Factor TV. I am Sheila McKenna. Thank you so much for watching. I enjoyed doing this video. And I hope that most of all, you took something from it. Until next week, bye for now. Peace.